right now, first of all, I just want to say, thanks for attending the event and for attending this talk in particular. And thanks a lot as well for Paris Blockchain Week for the invitation and extending it to a number of people at Fantom. And I think you guys want to listen to what you came here to listen to, which is Pierre Gasly, the Formula One driver for Alpine for France. So I'd like to welcome him onto the stage now. So Pierre, how's it been so far? How's the season been? I know it's pretty early, but how are you feeling about it?
Well, hi everyone. Must admit it feels good to be home. I don't get to spend much time in France, so really happy to be here at the conference in Paris. And yeah, the season just started like a few weeks ago with the first race in Bahrain. Just came back from Jeddah, and yeah, we got the third race coming up in Australia, so it's going well. Hope it could go even better, but yeah, it's a decent start.
Awesome, great to hear. So, thanks again for attending the event and talking about your experiences in blockchain and Formula One, in particular like sports and blockchain together. So, kind of the first question I wanted to ask you was, how did you even get into blockchain to begin with? Like, how did you even hear about it, and also like, how did you end up getting connected to Fantom today?
So yeah, my experience, I would say, started back in 2016, 2017. I heard about Bitcoin, and I didn't jump straight on it, but early 2021, I got a friend that introduced me to REA, who was, a big investor into Fantom, and he kind of opened the doors of this universe of the blockchain, different cryptos, and that's when I really started to get into it. So, started January 21. Then I was fascinated with this entire new world. I started to read more about it, magazines, interviews, follow like more videos to improve my knowledge about it. And yeah, from then, Ari has been always a big supporter of my career. Fantom as well for the past 2 years, and we try to interact more and more to how to use crypto and the blockchains to interact in a closer way with my fan base and community, because F1 is obviously growing massively, and then you always look at new ways to get closer to the fan and to the communities. And I think we've done some good job. We've tried different stuff with NFTs, fan tokens. I was really proud to be the first one to bring crypto into the Formula One industry when we started the partnership back in March 21. And then after, yeah, all other teams kind of followed after that. Crypto.com joined the organization, F1, Mercedes and Ferrari, and some other drivers as well. So it's been quite a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're definitely like a bit of a trendsetter. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you was kind of like your experience on dealing with the Fantom network to begin with. In particular, there were 2 NFT launches that you did. The first one I think was in October 2021 and also in May 2022, just last year. So how was your experience in launching NFTs on Fantom? And my understanding was it was like kind of the first NFT launch of any like F1 driver or Formula One in general.
Yeah, it was. And I must admit, it was very successful. Obviously, I'm still kind of new to this world and to the ecosystem, but I really wanted to learn about it. I'm someone that is very curious, and I want to understand. I want to understand new things, new technologies, and understand how I can implement it in my life and in the sport that I'm working on. And obviously, came up with some NFTs just to sort of give an experience to the fans and get a bit of feedback from them. Dropped 350 NFTs that just went like in a couple of days. It's been very, very successful. They were redeemable with some merch. So I just thought, okay, I'll just want to give the possibilities to the fans that will get these NFTs to redeem it with my own merch or keep the NFTs and the digital assets. And no, I think it's been great. There were 3 special NFTs with exclusive experience in Formula One with a race worn helmet from Baku back in 2021, and then after it was quite interesting. We saw all the teams started the NFTs, NFT drops, and it's still something that I want to continue over the next few years. use fan tokens as well. We've seen it, other sports implement it in football especially. I think in F1 it's still quite new, but no, there is a lot of opportunities to develop, and definitely looking into it.
Yeah, for sure. That's very interesting. And F1 is obviously a very popular sport. I think when you look at the numbers, it's only like second to football, which of course is like, you know, billions of people watch that, and so do, you know, the same number of people.
Better win, right?
Yeah, yeah. In terms of like being able to reach out to the fan base and kind of like increase like Bitcoin adoption or like blockchain adoption technology in general, like how do you think like the sport can go about, or sport in general can go about like encouraging people to look at new technologies and say, hey, you know, this is something that's kind of interesting?
Well, crypto and blockchains and Formula One in a way are very similar in some ways. You know, you're talking about high technology, efficiency, speed, which relate to my sport and which relates to what I'm doing. So in a way, I feel there is way more to develop, especially to the mainstream. I think nowadays you got about 5% of people who hold crypto in general, and you can see the evolution. You can see people hear about it, but I want to use my own experience and my, let's say, personal experience to explain what I went through and the chance that I have. I feel privileged in my position to have, you know, be really close to the Fantom network, foundations, and understand more about it. And it's true, like nowadays, to the mainstream, you see a lot about these big headlines, Bitcoins up and down, but then people don't really speak about the technology and everything that's going to be available to us in the future, like in the coming years, all the work that is being developed at the moment. And I feel I'm 27 years old at the moment, and I feel like this sort of new internet. And if you look back, internet at the start, not everybody jumped on it, not everybody believed in it, but ultimately 20 years later, we're all using it consistently in our life. And, and that's a bit where I feel my duty is to, you know, share my experience with the people around me, with my community, with my sport in F1, the exposure we get, to kind of, bridge crypto and the mainstream.
Yeah, and talking about the future, you know, you mentioned like the NFT launches that you did on Fantom. It was like some of the first, and I think it sold like, you know, in total like a few $100,000, and it was very, very popular indeed. Both NFT launches, and I think, you know, we're probably going to see a lot more of that like coming down the line, and a lot more functionality added to like NFTs as well. So one of my other questions to you was, apart from like NFTs that we just talked about quite a bit, what other like sort of technologies do you think that F1 could, you know, maybe look at adopting to try and like, you know, reach out to the fan base a bit more?
Yeah, so as you pointed out, you know, NFT is definitely something that we want to keep developing and keep giving to the fans, sort of like fine-tune what we're doing, and we can always do better. And as you know, it's developing, there's always new ways to interact with the fans. But I think fan tokens, as I've mentioned earlier, it's definitely implemented in football a lot more than in Formula One. That's something that I think we're going to look into and try to develop, and, you know, get the fans closer to what we're doing. At the end of the day, we're entertainment, right? F1 is a sport, but we are live only if fans are watching us on TV, fans are coming to the races. We want to get closer to the actions. And thanks to fan tokens, you can get them rights, decisions on particular subjects, merchandising, or just get them more involved in the journey of the team or the drivers themselves. So there's a lot of also in gaming, in the virtual world, definitely a lot of opportunities in there. So I definitely see crypto more involved in Formula One, and still a lot to explore about it.
Yeah, definitely fan tokens are an interesting idea, because it's only something that's happened in the past couple of years. I mean, a lot of things actually with blockchain technology have only happened in the past couple of years, because that's basically how old it's been. And it's kind of remarkable like how much growth we've been able to get so far. So, you know, I definitely think, you know, we can take inspiration, say, from like football and see what they've done right with fan tokens. And I think that's just like a new level of engagement.
Yeah, definitely. And it's an experience as well. You know, it's still quite new. And I think, same with my personal journey. I've learned so much over the last 2 years. I've discovered great things, I've done some mistakes, but I think all along the way we're just learning, right? We're just increasing our knowledge. And learning more about all these opportunities that are available to us. So I'm definitely keen on trying new things in the sport, in F1, and with my community, and that's definitely part of the work.
Yeah, well, so far you've definitely been a trendsetter for Formula One and embracing blockchain technology. So I'm sure there's like other stuff like down the pipeline. So talking about like, maybe a little bit about the past. So I think like Formula One, obviously like you began embracing blockchain technology to begin with, but then there were like other companies that came in and did a variety of different sponsorships and activities. What's sort of been like the fan base reaction to these companies coming in and blockchain technology?
Well, it's been mixed. Obviously, some people really jumped on board. Some other people were adopting a bit more. I think what's critical is just the knowledge and the information that we give out there. I think it's definitely lacking at the moment, and that's where I feel is the main duty from all of us, just to simplify things to the mainstream, because as I say, a lot of people can see it around me, don't fully understand what this technology is all about. They know a lot about Bitcoin, they read the news, they see Bitcoins crashing, etc., the FTX chaos that happen, and there's a misconception about this whole technology, and I feel there is a lot about informations and the way crypto is perceived, and that's all our duty to make it simple and to bridge that gap with the mainstream.
Yeah, I think like there's been a bit of like trust, I think, broken maybe with like users and blockchain technology because of recent incidents that have happened, which aren't really to do with the blockchain technology itself, in my opinion. It's more to do with like bad actors just that happen to utilize blockchain technology. It's not really a fault of the blockchain technology itself, but it kind of like leads to the question of in terms of like maybe like trust issues with like users now that they're a bit skeptical of blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. How would you think about like going about like restoring trust, like maybe with some of the F1 fans out there that are maybe a little bit turned off, saying, oh, look what happened with, for example, like FTX and stuff. I just don't want anything to do with it at all.
Well, it's a journey, right? And I think people get to know me through what is out there, what they see on TV, and I'm someone that I got my values, and whoever I want to work with got to share the same values. So that's where I come from with my community and with my fans. They know that whatever I share, whatever I'm involved to, is really because I believe it. I'm not forcing anyone. As I say, I want to share my own experience, my own thoughts, my own journey, and people got to make their sort of opinion, but they can trust what comes out there, and that I really believe into something. As I said, when I joined crypto and we did a couple of stages together, like from 2021, I'm not here just for a couple of years. I do believe in the technology, and you'll still see me there in 5 to 10 years. And yeah, obviously a lot of people need reassurance. The trust has been going up and down, but then I think through different actions that we can put out there to show the positive and maybe share more positive message, because I feel a lot of medias are focused on the let's say a couple of negative actions that were made and kind of generalized in a wrong way. But as you say, technology is out there. There is endless opportunities, platforms, apps, and yeah, I think that's what we need to push on, and people to jump on board and use that, utilize that.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I agree with everything you said. So going now, like talking about the future, like what are you personally excited about doing going forward with blockchain technology? I mean, we did the NFT like experiments. What else are you looking forward to?
I think you mentioned it all. I think it's how I can utilize it in my own life, in my own industry, in Formula One, and get closer to the public and to the mainstream, to the fan. We can see it in F1 already. They're jumping on board, and there's a lot more through virtual gaming, in F1. They're jumping on board with all the NFTs. I think that's definitely one thing that we'll see more and more in the future. As you mentioned with the fan tokens, that's something that will be definitely used and developed in the paddock. And we see more and more teams jumping on board. So it's still new to our industry, but definitely most of the teams are already jumping in.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense what you said. And actually, just stepping away from blockchain technology for a moment, just out of curiosity, what's sort of like the toughest race you've ever had to come back from?
I thought we were not talking about F1 today. Well, yeah, I had a couple of tough ones, but you mean physically or?
Physically, mentally, whatever it might
Singapore, be. Yeah, Singapore is definitely one of the toughest. We're losing, up to 3 to 4 kilos throughout the race, so in an hour and a half, and it's just impacting, your focus through the race. So it's physically draining. I think most of people don't realize in Formula One, when you drive at 317 kph, you're doing most of the lap without breathing. You're just in apnea. And means like your recovery time during a lap of 1 minute 30, you're probably breathing for 20 seconds only. So mentally, physically, it drains you, but your focus got to be the same, because you're pushing the same at the start of the race and in the last lap. Even though you're 4 kilos lighter, you might feel tired, you might feel like mentally, physically tired. So Singapore is one of the toughest. Monaco, driving in the streets, I don't recommend going at 300 in the streets. Please don't do it. But yeah, it's definitely one of the toughest, just in terms of concentration, being millimeters from the wall for a full race distance is not an easy job, but it's definitely an exciting and fun job, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really challenging. Yeah, I don't know how you do it in Singapore, when even if you're just walking around with a t-shirt, you already start sweating. So that's really impressive. So that's kind of like all the questions I really had for you today. Was there anything that you wanted to say to your fans out there or to the people watching?
Well, yeah, I hope that we managed to share a positive message to the people, and as you said, I think there is a big focus to bridge the mainstream in crypto and make them increase the awareness about these possibilities, and any type of age, but obviously my young generation, I think, is going to be a massive part of our life in the future. So it's definitely quite important to jump on board now. There is no time, if it's now, if it's in 5 years or 10 years. But if we can, bring the more, make people aware as soon as possible, I feel that's one of my duty. And to whoever follows F1, keep following us. Need some support. And as I say, we are live because people follow us, people watch, people come on the races, and at the end of the day, it's an entertainment. So yeah, for whoever is fan and following us, keep doing it, and hopefully I'll meet some of them around the track.
Yeah, follow Gasly, on Instagram, Twitter, all the usual social media. Show him some love, and again, thanks Pierre so much for your time today. Really appreciate it, and thanks everyone for listening. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.